WTAN Talk Radio Network.
It's time for the Kelly Show. Kelly is an award-winning photographer and the owner of the website iloveclearwater.com. Doug is the author of 4 published books and a contributing editor for Florida Sportsman magazine. And now, here they are.
Well, it's kind of a momentous occasion. If you're a football fan, you haven't been under a rock. You know that the Bucs just re-signed Baker Mayfield, their quarterback, who had an outstanding year and also one of the premier wide receivers in the league, in Mike Evans. And that's a pretty major part of their offense. Obviously, you got to have all the other pieces in line too. And there's another thing that's happening tomorrow, kind of a national holiday in a way. It's being celebrated a lot, by our first guest and by many others, and that's my birthday tomorrow. And yes,
happy birthday.
Yes, I'll be 39.
This is going to be your diamond birthday.
I dye my hair gray, so don't let that fool you. But at any rate, Kelly and I finally broke down and took Ed's advice, and we went and had dinner at Molly Goodhead's. Yes, you heard that right. That's the name of the place, Molly Goodhead's, and it's in Arizona. And there's also a great little barbecue place there
across the street
called Arizona Pig. Delicious, absolutely fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, by the way, those clams at Molly Goodhead's,
yes,
that's the best I've ever had.
Yeah, they're pretty darn
really
good. Good advice, Ed.
You're on.
Yeah.
That's one of your stomping grounds, isn't it?
On a good night, yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, it's fun to go like in the late fall or early fall or early spring.
Yeah.
Everybody's out on their golf carts,
Yeah. Yes. I don't recommend it during spring break in March.
No, spring breakers don't really head down there.
We're not talking about that.
No, it was crowded.
We're not talking about that.
Well, spring break actually hit this weekend, I noticed, on the beach. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, something else about March. We were having a sort of a lunch breakfast at Home Plate in Dunedin, and we were sitting under oak trees. Mm-hmm. And that's the damn worms were everywhere, dropping in our hair, parachuting into my eggs.
Extra protein.
God, it was awful.
I swear there's one on me right now.
Just before we went on the air, Kelly got up and pulled her back up.
Maybe it's just mental. I don't know, but
we're paranoid.
I know.
Before you sat down, did you wipe off the yellow haze off the table?
March is awful for those worms. Anyway. Also, you can watch while listening to the show on our Facebook page, The Kelly Show, and on Tan Talk Radio's YouTube channel. The show is podcast for posterity at internetradiopros.com. Just click on the Kelly Show link.
Right. That's not our website.
No, it's not.
That's one for all kinds of different shows that are on.
The Facebook pages.
Yes. Would you believe we're coming up soon to begin our 7th year of doing the show? And during that time, we've had and met hundreds of community leaders, formed many friendships as we continue to bring you political and business leaders and those organizing events and charities. It's been a fun ride. And and for that matter, we try to keep the show somewhat as a community asset.
I would say so.
There's a lot of shows out there that are political in nature, and that's fine. But we all know that the rhetoric has gotten pretty rough lately, and I don't want to be down in the dumps every week, every Monday, talking about that.
It's been fun, Doug.
Yes, it has.
Today's show will be fun as well. Our first guest is running for mayor of Tampa Bay's 3rd largest city.
And in the second segment, we'll chat with a local doctor who has some pretty cool stories about famous people he's known, as well as some remarkable incidents with some of his patients. No names mentioned.
That's true.
That's true. And joining us today...
No, we said that already.
No, we didn't. Is Ed Davis.
Okay.
The executive producer of the Tan Talk Radio Network. Ed, as I said, we finally got Baker Mayfield back. What do you think about it?
Got to turn that button on.
Yes.
I would say the Bucs just spent $175 million in about 10 days.
Yeah.
What?
$175 million.
Yeah. $75 million went to Mike Evans,
Yeah.
and $100 million just went to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
roughly what we make on the radio show here each year.
Yeah.
So we can relate to that.
Yeah.
And on both cases, it was the wives that had the final say.
Well, okay,
Yes, in both cases.
okay, that's cool.
Well,
Baker's jumped around the league as quarterback, and she's like, "Are you serious?
Why go up north?
We're not
right?
moving again."
Right.
wow.
Yeah, I heard the Patriots were
Okay.
hot on this trail, and it would be pretty cold up there during the winter months. So, Kel, you have something you're going to announce?
Yeah, you didn't give me the right script.
I didn't.
I didn't. No, yeah. Before we go to a break, we have 2 tickets for the West Coast Players, the dining room, which will be shown until March 24th. And show times are Friday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. with Sunday matinees at 2 p.m. And I believe that the free tickets that we're going to have you call in for right now are for the March 23rd show. It's Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
And where's the show?
I'm about to say so. So you interrupted me.
I did indeed.
Okay, it's on. I'm really. Here we go. It's located off Drew Street and US 19 North, and it's an 85-seat community theater featuring some of the area's most talented actors and innovative shows. And this particular one is a heartwarming story of changing times, and it's a must-see.
Okay.
And you and I are going to be there.
Yes, we are. Again, if you
Yep.
want to come get the tickets, free tickets.
That's true.
There's nothing attached to it. No, what do they call it when you have a
Quid pro quo?
Well, close enough.
What? I don't know. No
Can-
strings attached.
No strings attached.
Okay.
And just call in 727
441
441 3000.
3000.
And you can call in
right
now or anytime during the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We're
So
gonna-
what are we going to do now?
We're going to go to break.
We're going to break away for a couple of minutes, but first see if you know the answer to this trivia question. What is the largest company in Switzerland? Hint, think chocolate. We'll be back with the answer right after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Just about everyone is fascinated by the mafia. Books and movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, and many others became bestsellers and box office hits. Did you know that a century ago, mobsters like Al Capone discovered Florida's tropical climate and sparse law enforcement? Mafia bosses from around the nation began setting up illegal operations in Florida. Now, for the first time, a new book titled Sunshine State Mafia, A History of Florida's Mobsters, Hitmen, and Wise Guys provides vivid stories and never-before-seen images of dangerous criminals who settled in Florida full or part-time. Written by renowned author Doug Kelly, Sunshine State Mafia exposes the hidden history of the mob throughout the state and includes Doug's own brushes with crime figures. Sunshine State Mafia is available at all major book retailers, or obtain a signed copy by calling 727-724-4949 or email sunshinestatemafia@gmail.com.
These days, amidst supply chain issues, staffing crises, and rising energy bills, it's not easy to be a successful entrepreneur in Clearwater. For many, financial fears have led to sleepless nights. On top of that, many more have employees and customers that they're trying to protect and reassure. A monumental task when they themselves are struggling with burnout. We're all experiencing a lot of intense emotions. So where can you find safe harbor? At Amplify Clearwater. Amplify Clearwater is your Chamber of Commerce, and the name says it all. To make Clearwater larger, greater, stronger. Here you'll find like-minded members who are seeking opportunities to learn from each other, to collaborate, network, support, and do business together. Every business owner's goal in 2022 is to grow their business. If you need help, your friends at Amplify Clearwater are here for you. Submit your application today at amplifyclearwater.com/join.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, thank you for being with us on the Kelly Kelly Show. I'm Doug Kelly with my better 7/8, Kelly Kelly. And before the break, she asked a little trivia question. What is the largest company in Switzerland? And she gave the hint of chocolate. And if you guessed Nestle, you're correct. And believe it or not, 98% of their sales are sold outside of Switzerland. But that's where they make it. That's where you hear the Swiss chocolate thing all the time. So, Cal, I know you're working a little bit on that.
I did not, because our live Facebook video feed just stopped. So here we go. We're going to restart it.
Okay.
All right.
So
let me make sure it's going before I introduce our guest. There we are. It's going. Okay. So I'd like to introduce Kathleen Beckman. She's currently a city council member and is running for Clearwater mayor. Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's great. It's great. For those who are unfamiliar with Clearwater, it's like 120,000 citizens now, growing tremendously, and it has a 5-member council headed by a mayor, and its a format is a mayor-city manager type. And all 5 are voting members, and Kathleen has been a council member for 4 years almost.
Yes.
And now she's looking to take over the gavel and become the mayor and that's what we're going to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. But first, tell us about your beginnings and a little bit of your background for those who don't know you.
Well, I was born and raised in the Midwest. I grew up in Michigan. My family was involved in public service. I have 2 younger brothers, and they're involved in public service as well. And my husband and I have been together for 45 years.
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you.
Since you were 15?
Since we were 15, not like married, but so we married after college, and we have 3 children. We raised our children in Northern Illinois, and I was a high school English teacher, public schools, and Brian and I both volunteered a lot in Parks and Rec coaching and all that stuff while the kids were younger. And once they all got through college and graduated, we moved down here to Clearwater. We had purchased a townhome on Sand Key 4 years earlier and rented it out, and we came down here in 2016. And I've been involved in public service and community service ever since we've been down here.
You sure have. You have a great newsletter.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
very informative. I learned stuff that I would otherwise not know. Okay. So, yeah.
And also, what drew you to Clearwater in particular? You bought the property and you got to know it, and I guess you could have gone many places to retire. What was it Clearwater that made you want to put the roots here?
Well, certainly we visited Clearwater, and we love to fish. We love to be outside. We're all lifelong nature lovers. And, coming from the polar vortex in northern Illinois, it was time to look someplace warmer and someplace that our kids and hopefully future grandchildren would like to visit. So we chose Clearwater, and we've been thrilled.
Very good. I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of pluses and not a lot of minuses for being here, for sure. So you've been a council member for 4 years. Describe some of what you've done for the city and what you've been involved with.
Well, I've loved being a council member. It's been an honor and a privilege. It really has, to serve the residents of Clearwater. I'm proud of the work we've done on sustainability. We have solar panels for the first time on city buildings. We have $3 million of allocated federal funds for energy efficiencies, including solar panels, that will save the city over $12 million over the life of those solar panels. That goes back into general funds, and those things can be used to pay salaries for police and fire. They can be used for rec centers and parks. I'm also proud that we've reduced cost of operations in the city, and I've led that. We have a partnership with a group called Synergistics that reduces our energy consumption, helps us meet our pollution goals, reduction goals as well. Super proud of our sustainability plan, of our strategic plan, of our new North Greenwood CRA, and really proud of the work we've done, and I've championed as well, in more intentional resident engagement, reaching out to residents. That's part of that newsletter, as well as beefing up our neighborhoods division. We have many more newsletters that go out to specified groups in the city, and really being intentional to invite residents' voice to the table when we're making decisions. That's a priority of mine, and I think I followed through on that.
What is a CRA for those who don't know?
It's a community redevelopment area, and it's a finding of need in a particular geographical region in a city, where part of those tax dollars that are generated in that area stay in that area for economic development, to fight blight. And this one in particular is to reduce poverty.
Very good. And that will also include, I guess, recreational facilities and different things, or is it meant more to bring in industry?
More for business and opportunity for economic development and growth.
I got you. Okay. Sounds good.
So you're also a guardian ad litem.
Mhm.
What is that, and what do you do for that?
So I became a guardian ad litem in early 2017 after we moved here. And what it is you are appointed by the court to a child who has been removed from the home due to abuse or neglect. I started off with early childhood court, which were babies up to 2 years old. And you are the eyes and the voice of that child in the courtroom when you're having a judicial review, or when there's discussion of how the parents are working their case management programs and things like that. And so I speak with whoever has custody of that child. So whether they're in foster care or they're in a relative placement, I visit that child monthly. I get eyes on the child. I talk to teachers. How is the child doing? Pediatricians. What are their health needs? And then we try to fill if there are any of those needs. Things like they need soccer shoes so they can play soccer, or they need this. There are a number of community organizations that buy gifts for children that are in foster care. And so you coordinate with those organizations, and gifts are provided to the children.
That's interesting.
And there's a huge wait list for children who need guardian ad litem.
Is there really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
That would make a good article.
Well, what do you do when you see evidence of abuse?
Thankfully, I have not seen evidence of abuse, but you make monthly reports, and I have a manager that manages guardians, and so she and I would confer.
I see. Very good.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. Well, you threw your hat in the ring. You could have run probably safely for your seat. You're in seat 3 of the 5 seats, but you decided to roll the dice and go for the mayor's position. What types of things do you feel would benefit Clearwater should you be elected?
I think it's really important that someone serves in that mayor's position that has experience, that has a relationship with city departments, city leaders, that knows how our city works and knows what the power of the council can do, what is in our hands and what is not in our hands as a city manager form of government. And I think you need someone who has proven leadership throughout the county. And I sit on a number of county boards. I'm chair of the Continuum of Care. I'm on the Tampa Bay Estuary Program Board, the Suncoast League of Cities. a number of other boards, and that takes collaboration with my peers at a municipal and regional level. And I think you need to bring that as a mayor as well. I think you need to work on what's best for. I think there are 2 lanes for our city council. We are here to represent residents, and we are here to ensure that our staff has what they need to do the job, to deliver goods or to deliver services to our residents, business owners, people in Clearwater.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes police and fire, parks and rec, safety, public utilities, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's great. And also, it's a long campaign because you have to file, I think, back in September.
Mm-hmm.
Then you qualify, is it November or December?
Early November. Well,
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to get 250 certified signatures of people who say that they want you on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to go through the gauntlet of a campaign. There's many facets of that campaign. Tell us a little bit about what you've done and how the campaigning is in terms of canvassing and mailings and things such as that, yard signs, etc.
Sure. So it's an intense 6 months or so of campaigning. I'm fortunate in that I had a real grassroots campaign 4 years ago. I don't own a business here. I didn't grow up here. I reached out to people and shared with them my heart and my history of civic engagement and really volunteering and speaking for everyday residents. And I was easily elected with like 49% of the vote. With my newsletter, with continuous engagement and honoring those commitments to residents for the last 4 years of being in their neighborhoods continuously, my volunteer base is extensive, and I am humbled and appreciative and honored for that. We have well over 200 volunteers. And
Wow.
yep,
200.
well over 200 volunteers who are out working every day to share all the good things that we've done. It does take mailings and yard signs and fundraising forums. And, we've held our own with fundraising. It will be the most expensive race in Clearwater history.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Wow.
my opponent would probably spend with PACs over $250,000.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Yep, I bet that's about it. Uh-huh.
Wow.
And it's hard to compete with super PACs and partisan politics. And that's what's been disappointing, I think, in this campaign is how partisan it's been. We're listed on the ballot in a nonpartisan way.
Mm-hmm.
And truly the city issues we deal with, streets and sidewalks, infrastructure, pay for our staff, neighborhoods, public safety, all of that is nonpartisan. And there's no reason to make our race partisan. And I've deliberately chosen not to.
Mm-hmm.
However, my opponent has chosen to go in another way. And that's what's been, different about this campaign. And I don't agree with that part of it. And I think anyone who thinks that it's not going to continue on to future campaigns is sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, a sidewalk can't be Republican.
That's right. Sidewalks are not Republican
It'd be
or
on
Democrat.
It'd be on the right
Yes,
side of the road if it was.
that's right. Are they on the left side or right side? Exactly.
You also have been instrumental in us being involved in a nice event, so to speak, and that's Lunch Pals.
Yeah.
And that's a program with the school district where they have kids who would like a little somebody to look up to, maybe just a camaraderie with an older person, an adult who's not their parent or their guardian. And what you do is you meet at school, and it's during their lunchtime, and they actually have their lunch. They have their lunch tray, and you just chat with them for half an hour, whatever their lunch period is. And
For half an hour, once a week.
once a week. And we've done that, and it's been very rewarding.
Mm-hmm. And
To us.
they need volunteers for that as well.
Yes,
They
that's
do.
too.
I am so happy that you've decided to
Yes.
do that. I've been a volunteer in the Pinellas County Schools for 7 years, And I did a reading at Ridgecrest Elementary. There was the Panther Pals readers, and we read with kindergarten, second graders to help get them up to reading, and then switched over to the Lunch Pals at Sandy Lane. And it is one of the best parts of the week. It really is.
Yeah.
I meet with Sophia. She's a bundle of life and energy. We do some crafts.
Yeah.
Play
We do too. We
Connect
play,
Four.
We play games, cards.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
what were you playing?
Mine is a fourth grader.
No, but what game were you playing?
Scrabble. I'm
Scrabble.
teaching her Scrabble.
Yeah.
And,
And she beats her.
doesn't follow rules, and I don't care.
Yeah.
She's engaged.
Yeah.
Well, and you'll get to follow her. Hopefully you get to follow your child all the way through high school,
Wow,
ideally.
that's
It'd be
awesome.
really kind of a cool thing.
That is cool. That is cool. What do you like doing on your time off?
Well, I haven't had a whole lot of time off, but
imagine
I do love to fish. I love to hike. I love to be outside. I have a stack of books that I've been collecting that I'll like to start reading. And I like to cook.
Sunshine State Mafia. Is that one of the books that you're going
there
to
you go. It does look good. You've got a spiffy cover there.
Thank you very much.
What kind of books do you like to read?
I like to read nonfiction.
Me too.
Mhm.
Okay.
And my husband reads a lot of historical biographies of leaders. He likes all those, and I like more about cultural problems and issues and how to deal with them. There are a number that are stacked up.
I love biographies too, and even besides reading about them at night, laying in bed, it's nice to see a documentary on YouTube or something about Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson or whatever.
Abraham Lincoln or
They're all
Teddy Roosevelt, all those presidents.
It's phenomenal.
Do you like inshore or offshore fishing?
Oh, inshore. We don't go.
Yeah.
You mean like a mile out?
Yeah.
No,
we don't do that anymore
No.
either. The bumpiness.
Yeah,
just
my
gets to
husband
me.
tends to get seasick, so we like to go out to the reef and drop and get. We get grunts.
Yeah.
And I love to catch flounder, but it's been forever since I caught
I'll give you a
flounder.
tip.
Mhm.
Next time you go out, anchor up,
Mhm.
throw 3 Dramamine tablets over the water.
What?
The fish start to get really,
Oh.
it's easier to catch them. They get drowsy, just like people do. And if it rains, they'll be right under the boat.
There you go.
Yeah. What's the biggest fish you caught?
I have about a 9.5 pound speckled trout from down by Corpus Christi that I caught. She's on the wall, and she was really fun to pull in, and it was wade fishing.
I've never caught one that small.
Oh no!
It's very difficult to relate to that. I'm sorry.
You know what I found works as bait when you run out? Slim Jims. The fish
Really?
level.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't.
Little pieces of Slim Jim.
We like shrimp. I love
Oh,
shrimp.
okay,
Is
yeah.
a sure thing,
It
pretty
is.
much.
It is. Well, how can someone who, of course, wants to vote for you, they go to the polls,
Be
and
wonderful.
there's early voting now, or what is their contact information?
Well, they can call me at 727-437-2729, or they can go to info@beckmanformayor.com. They can email me if they have any questions, anything they want to talk about. I return those calls, and love to speak with voters. I'm out knocking on doors every day this week. It's kind of a light week this week for me for meetings, so I am out knocking on doors, reminding people to turn their ballots in.
What's that phone number again?
The phone number is 727-437-2729.
And Beckman is Beckman.
That's correct.
Very good. Kathleen, it's been great having you on the show again.
Thank you, Doug. It's been a pleasure. It always is. And let me just say thank you for your civic engagement, your community outreach, your work, and the positivity that you bring to the community. It really is well.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that a lot. As I said, early voting began on Saturday. It runs to March 17th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekdays and 8 to 5 on Saturdays. And Cal, tell about what residents can do.
Residents can vote early at 3 locations: the Election Service Center at 13001 Starkey Road, Largo, the County Building at 501 First Avenue North, St. Pete, and the Pinellas County Courthouse at 315 Court Street, Room 117, Clearwater.
And Election Day is March 19th, with polls open from 7 in the morning to 7 p.m. For more info about that, go to votepinellas.gov. Okay.
And we'll be right back, but first see if you can correctly answer this trivia question. In what month are most babies born? The answer right after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Just about everyone is fascinated by the mafia. Books and movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, and many others became bestsellers and box office hits. Did you know that a century ago, mobsters like Al Capone discovered Florida's tropical climate and sparse law enforcement? Mafia bosses from around the nation began setting up illegal operations in Florida. Now, for the first time, a new book titled Sunshine State Mafia, A History of Florida's Mobsters, Hitmen, and Wise Guys provides vivid stories and never-before-seen images of dangerous criminals who settled in Florida full or part-time. Written by renowned author Doug Kelly, Sunshine State Mafia exposes the hidden history of the mob throughout the state and includes Doug's own brushes with crime figures. Sunshine State Mafia is available at all major book retailers, or obtain a signed copy by calling 727-724-4949 or email sunshinestatemafia@gmail.com.
Ask any successful entrepreneur. They'll tell you that the fundamental way to grow a business is through strategic connections. Relationships drive business. Forming a solid network of reliable contacts is essential to your growth. And there's no better way to get connected in Clearwater than through membership in Amplify Clearwater, your Chamber of Commerce for Clearwater and Clearwater Beach. Amplify Clearwater is your first level of support. Membership affords you the opportunity to meet like-minded business owners you otherwise wouldn't have met. You'll be able to collaborate, network, support, bond, and do business with each other. Interested? Then visit amplifyclearwater.com. There you'll find all the information you need to make an informed decision and start the membership application process. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision. Join today at amplifyclearwater.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Well, now here we are back again for the second portion of our show. And we had on previously Kathleen Beckman, and now we have a friend of ours and also somebody who knows something about our bodies. That sounds maybe kind of peculiar, but it's not. He's our doctor. So before, however, we did ask you, before we went to the break, a trivia question. And it was, in what month are most babies born? And the answer is August.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. What is that? Like the 9th month after New Year's or something? or maybe before?
The 8th.
Yeah. Anyway. So we have with us Dr. Ken Neifeld. And I've known him for several years now. He's a been a great doctor, and we've gotten to know each other better, which has been delightful. But he's also got a lot of interesting experiences outside of certainly taking care of people and the work of a doctor, of assessing people's health and trying to get them healthier. Ken, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Does this sound okay?
Yeah.
It does.
Good.
Facebook quit recording for the third time, so I had to restart that. But
Yeah,
I'm happy to see you.
It's good to see you too.
very good. I think you'll see him next week, don't you?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm honored again. I'm honored.
I think I've got another 4 or 5 weeks for my next appointment.
I'm still enjoying medicine, of course.
Yes.
And I thought I might want to just talk about one of the stories because of the Academy Awards yesterday.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. The Oscars.
Okay, the Oscars.
Yeah.
Well, my parents were film buffs, and they usually tried to see all the films, even the obscure ones. And I actually grew up watching a lot of foreign films. I thought, okay, this is really cool. I became familiar with a lot of them. And I'm, again, watching some of them on Turner Classics, which is terrific. I recently saw a Hitchcock movie called Rebecca. And
Never heard of that one.
Oh, I've heard of it.
you must see it.
I've heard of it.
Okay, well, every time I visit you, you have some tidbit that I have to write down. more than one usually.
It was terrific.
Okay.
And it was like, it really, and Glenda, my wife, loved it too. We both were just amazed. This was sort of, some cool just twists,
Yeah.
That Hitchcock is able to do.
He's
So-
famous for that.
And
Yeah.
so since then, I also saw The Lady Vanishes, which was also very good.
Lady Vanishes.
Yeah,
Haven't heard of that one.
two Hitchcock films.
Hmm.
And so anyway, thank you, Turner Classics, because I'm starting to really, go back into time. And I have to tell this story about my mother because I brag about this. My mother usually could predict who was going to win the awards.
Oh.
But she also was a prolific reader like me.
Uh-huh.
And the first time I knew she had an unusual talent was she was reading Peter Benchley's book. Okay, it's called Jaws.
Yes, of course.
And Jaws at that time had just come out in print. Okay, and she's reading this book and she says, Kenny, this is the scariest book. I don't think I'll ever be able to go to the beach
Oh,
again.
boy, a lot of people said that.
A lot of people said that.
Yeah.
And she says, they got to make this into a movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll be
That's
darned.
a true story. So, of course, a year or two later, they make it into a movie, and I read the book, and I said, Mom, you're absolutely right. This is a really frightening, scary book, and everyone will love it on film.
Mhm.
And so it wins all the awards, that. And a few years later, she says to me, oh, my gosh, I can't go to sleep. I'm having nightmares.
Yeah.
There's a horse's head
Yeah.
in my bed. She says, I'm reading this book by this author, Mario Puzo,
Mhm.
and it's frightening. I'm petrified these days. Since I started reading this book, I can't put this book down. The
Yeah,
Godfather.
Mario Puzo, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So, my mother, I saw it on
Was
a
she
roll.
clairvoyant a little
She
bit?
was, for movies, I think she should have been in Hollywood.
Huh.
So, so she's got 2 best pictures out of the books that nobody had read at the time.
Oh, wow.
This is, when she's reading them in print, she's saying, I think these have potential
Mhm.
for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Okay. A few years later, there was a gentleman named Thomas Harris, and he wrote a book called Black Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, Black Sunday was a very good movie, by the way.
Hmm.
And it's about
I never saw that. Did you?
Hannibal Lecter?
No.
No.
Black Sunday is about a hijacked blimp over the Super Bowl
Oh.
that threatens to
destroy.
destroy the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
And made that into a movie. And, that's a nail biter.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Then Thomas Harris wrote another book. And, of course, my mother is such a reader. She says, this book is the scariest one of all.
Oh.
I can't sleep. Do something about that. I said, Mom, I don't know what I can do for you. Keep taking your sleep pills. And it turns out to be Silence of the
Oh my
Lambs.
gosh.
Yep.
So she hits 3 out of 3.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
too much.
So I kept thinking to myself, if you have a book and you want to know if this is going to be a blockbuster movie,
Check with your mother.
check with my mother.
Well, what about The Exorcist? Did she think that was going to be such a smash?
I'm going to guess she didn't read that one.
No, she read it.
She read it? Wow.
She read The Exorcist. She didn't make the same kind of prediction.
Huh.
Peter Blatty, I think, wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah, she read it and she reacted to it, but I don't think she envisioned it.
Yeah.
She didn't make the same comments. But
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
it is kind of cool. So Oppenheimer did well. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, they cleaned up.
And I was very happy. I watched it in 3 segments. I had it at home. I didn't go to the theater.
It's a long movie?
It's long.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I've got to watch it. I've got to see it.
and it's powerful. So I think it was deserving.
Ed just said it's 3 hours long. Wow.
It's
Really?
3 hours long.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's kind of like watching a baseball game in extra innings, and having to sit in one place.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, I streamed it and I watched it in pieces, and I digested it a little bit. Now the interesting thing about it is that one of my all-time heroes is in that movie, Richard Feynman.
I don't know who he is.
Oh yes, you do.
I do?
Oh yes, you do.
I just don't recognize
Okay.
his face, huh?
Richard Feynman. This is the visuals. Richard Feynman was invited to be on the Challenger panel, and he had won the Nobel Prize for this physics that the Oppenheimer group had been involved with.
The Manhattan Project.
The Manhattan. He was in Los Alamos. He was one of the people that stuck there. And Feynman went on to have this amazing career as a great college professor. One of his students wrote a book that's called Surely You Must Be Joking, Mr. Feynman. And I read it in my 20s. My neighbor, who was a teacher, said, "You're going to love this book." It influenced my life.
Did you write that down? What's that again?
Surely You Must Be Joking,
Okay.
Mr. Feynman. And Richard Feynman is Feymann. And he was known because he won a Nobel Prize, similar to Linus Pauling, who I met in med school. And these were, the people who were learning and studying the atom, of course. But Feynman just did amazing things. And if you read the book, I can talk about the book for a long time. But anyway, Oppenheimer mentions it, and what Feynman later was famous for was when the Challenger blew up. There was question as to whether and what was the reason for the Challenger's explosion. And in front of Congress, he took a glass of ice water and dropped a couple of rubber O-rings into the glass water. And at first he went like this and showed their elasticity, bent them. And then after dropping them in the ice water, the O-rings got brittle and stiff. And that was on national TV. And he was the one that, instantly was connected to solving the Challenger's reason for the tragedy. But anyway, that was one of his celebrated accomplishments. But what a smart guy. Anyway.
Well, for those who don't know, Oppenheimer was the lead in the Manhattan Project, which was the development of the atomic bomb in World War II.
Yes.
And we were racing the Germans to get it done because they were also researching it and trying to develop it.
Yes.
And they were getting, hard water that they needed for it, and nickel and all the component uranium, and or is it soft water? I don't remember which. But anyway, that's what this is all about. And it won, 7 Academy Awards out of 10 it was nominated for. It's incredible.
Well, I'll brag. I figured it was going to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Because I think it really, it had a connection to history, like Gandhi
Yes.
won.
Yeah.
You remember
True.
a few years ago?
Of course.
Yeah.
Mahatma.
There's some winners that I wish wouldn't have won, but it's just sort of the way I look at films. But I am a big film buff.
Yeah.
I guess it's in my genes.
Yeah. We saw a movie last night called Dunes.
Oh yeah.
Dune. One Dune.
Dune.
Dune
It was
number.
amazing special effects. Kind of
Yeah.
confusing until you get about halfway through it, but it was pretty good.
If you haven't seen the first two yet,
Yeah,
it
it's
could
pretty
be
good.
confusing, but it was 3 hours long.
Yeah, it was
My
also long.
attention span now is about this big.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like 2
Yeah.
inches.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to go see Oppenheimer.
we are.
Yeah, that's
we
got
are.
to
But
be,
did anything else strike you about the Oscar show? Did you watch the whole thing?
No, actually, I watched very little of it. I recorded it because they have about 1,000 commercials. So
Yeah.
I've learned this years ago that I can fast forward through the commercials
Yeah.
Yeah.
and watch another
You tape
movie
it.
at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
This is the sign of an intelligent person.
and so I really, was sort of interested in the major awards. But the funny thing is, like I said, I like the obscure ones. And I go on Turner Classics, and I go back in time to actually, I just recently saw Francois Truffaut was a favorite of my dad and my mom. They liked the French movies, and Truffaut was famous for walking on and saying about 5 words on Close Encounters of the whatever
Third kind.
third kind.
Yeah.
And so he plays himself, but he had directed several notable French movies. And so I just finished seeing The Last Metro, which was a celebrated film of his that starred, my girl, when I was a teenager, I had a crush on her, Catherine Deneuve.
Oh, yeah.
And her,
Oh, she was elegant.
Yes, she was.
She was a knockout.
in this movie, she's just like absolutely
Stunning.
stunning.
Yeah.
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 And one of the gentlemen that walks on and looks very young, became a very celebrated French actor named Gerard
Oh,
Depardieu.
yeah. Sure.
Who,
Big head.
yes,
What?
big, large head,
Yeah. Very large head.
large
Yeah.
head.
I know who you mean.
And he plays
George who?
Depardieu.
Depardieu.
Depardieu. Yeah.
He was Jean Valjean in Les Miserables.
Hmm.
And Les Miserables, I go back to over and over. It's sort of, to me, very biblical. It's so powerful in a lot of respects. And anyway, if you had to pick one of the great books in the top 10, I think Les Miserables and The Hunchback of Notre Dame
Sure.
are I think, like extensions of
Genius. Yeah.
yeah.
Ed, did you want to interject something? It looked like you had a thought about Oppenheimer.
Oh,
Or
I
the Oscars?
was going to tell you, I've got it for you right here.
Oh, what's that?
Oppenheimer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Oh, you got it on. Oh, fantastic.
Robert Downey Jr. was great.
Yes, he was.
He did win a best supporting.
Supported.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know it was him.
I couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I couldn't even tell
All
for
the
a while.
makeup, huh?
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
But usually, when the pre-awards, they call them, come out,
You can smell it. Yeah.
yeah, but usually you watch that and you're like, who the heck voted for this movie by the time you watch it? But this one held up true. There's also another one here that was out a few years, about 4 or 5 years ago, called The Imitation Game.
Really. I don't
Great
know.
movie.
Yes, and they're both now about World War II. So
Which
that's
is,
on there too. It's another 3-hour movie. So
yeah.
got you locked up for 6 hours.
I got you.
Did
I
you
got
watch the Oscars, Ed?
I don't
Yeah.
because I get a little aggravated because whoever's on stage manages to bring their political views into it.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
true.
just get
Jimmy-
turned off on
Jimmy
it.
Kimmel. Yeah, that turns me off too.
I mention it because I saw a small clip of the
Yeah.
In Memoriam.
Oh,
Yeah.
they had a segment of In Memoriam. You know how they showed
Yeah.
actors who died in the
Yeah.
past year? And then they were showing Botticelli and someone else singing, and they were featuring them and putting the camera on them, and they had dancers in front of the screen while they're showing people who died.
Yeah, this made the news because people were incensed.
Yeah.
Instead of showing the screen on the TV of the people who were dying, they were showing these singers. I mean, I thought that was kind of...
What other reflections do you have on the movies and stuff? Do you have a particular time frame? Do you like the ones set like in ancient times or early times or modern, or doesn't matter?
Well,
Westerns.
You just like good movies.
I do.
It doesn't matter
Not a specific type of brand.
There was a period I considered, did I have the talent to be a Francois Truffaut or a Spielberg,
Yeah.
And, and I really, I sort of look at a film maybe the way
A director would.
And, mentioning obscure films, the Japanese director Kurosawa had a movie that was about a physician in feudal days, I'm not sure which century. But my father, who I've written my father's biography, so someday I have to get.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I hope to get that published.
Mm-hmm.
So I might ask you a few questions about.
Certainly, anytime.
But I have written his biography, and so I can talk to you about authors who've written their father's biography, and there's only a couple. Big Tim Russert wrote about that.
Oh yes.
And right after
The Greatest Generation.
Right after that, he dies.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. He couldn't celebrate too much.
Yeah.
So, but there's not too many people. Obama, of course, tried to find his father and write his biography, and that was a successful book for him. It kind of actually helped to get Obama some recognition because he was given an advance.
Millions.
No, not at that time.
Oh, it was before he was president?
Yeah, before he was president.
I see.
So apparently, the publishing company must have picked it up and said, "Hey, this guy wrote a good book, and it's worth reading."
Oh.
So, but anyway, the Kurosawa wrote a book called Redbeard, and Redbeard is really like a physician in feudal times that cares for the poor in a clinic. And there's a caste system in Japan, like in many places in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman who was taking his medical studies only wanted to take care of rich people. And he gets assigned to
No, you don't feel that way because we're patients of yours.
I'm thinking, you guys owe me a lot of money. But
Well, I hate to cut you short, but we have to run. But give us about a 30-second final encapsulation of that book.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh well, it's a strange movie, but in fact, when I went to med school, they wanted all the medical students to watch it.
I see.
And it was rated the third best movie of all time.
Oh, fantastic. Well, listen, we got to run. I know we cut you a little short this time. We'd like you back on again sometime soon. And Kel, let's wind things up. Do you have a verse?
I do have a verse.
All right, go for it.
First Romans 15:13. Now may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace.
Very nice. Of course, we want to thank Kathleen Beckman for being here and Dr. Ken Neifeld. Always a pleasure. And I always try to close with this because it's somewhat uplifting. Don't go looking for happiness. Take it with you. Well, thanks for being with us today. On behalf of Kelly, Ed Davis, and myself, give a listen to us every Monday at the same time and station for another rip-snorting edition of the Kelly Show.
Thanks for listening to the award-winning Kelly Show on the Tan Talk Radio Network.